God, that was close. Welcome to the tactics talk for Leicester versus QPR. Sam, obviously, we've not done one for the last few weeks, mainly because the team kind of calls itself at the moment. But with the last two losses in the league being against Middlesbrough and Leeds, obviously we just beat Bournemouth in the cup. Do you see any changes coming into this QPR game? Because again, it is a massive game now. Now we're coming back to the league. We've got to get 3 points. We've got to make sure it's only a win, nothing but a win. What's your take to this game?
Yeah, I mean, we need a big bounce back. If I'm not mistaken, QPR in the bottom three at the very least this season at the moment. So I do think you're going to see some kind of changes and some. Obviously, the players that went out against Bournemouth had a really good game, and we were obviously playing a B team because we did get a little bit of a beating against Leeds. So, the cup wasn't a priority, but we still managed to get through. And those players, definitely, they're in the running to be taking over some of the spots, some of those players that have been underperformed maybe in the last few games.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get into the team news now, the team sheets, at the moment. Let me just bring up the new video and we'll get straight back into it.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content, like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, and the Foxes Arms and Rainbows. We are live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So as we get into the team talk or the tactics talk for QPR, what is your kind of take on this goalkeeper position? Because after the Bournemouth game, people have been mentioning that maybe Stolisic should get a start in this league.
I think Hermansson's been fairly solid and consistent. Obviously, his distribution is his key factor, and he can save as well, fairly decently as well. Obviously, Jacob, I'm going to try and pronounce his second name, but for me, I think his distribution against Bournemouth probably is why you see Hermansson in there a little bit more, but he's definitely fighting for that spot. For me, I'm going to stick with Hermansson in goal, but, if he has, maybe not the best game, I could see Jacob coming into the rotation and, changing that spot. But for me, Hermansson has been fairly solid all season, but you can't knock that. Jacob has also done very well, 6 clean sheets in his 7 appearances this season.
Yeah, Callum Barnes, first comment that he says, can see us losing Saturday. Again, they've got to be positive. Again, I went to Bournemouth the other night and a lot of people were basically saying the game was done already, but we can show that we can beat teams if we do perform well, and we did perform well against them. Scott also says how good with Vestergaard on Tuesday. He'll miss 2 games, which obviously is a key talking point today. But yeah, I thought it was man of the match performance. He's done that last 2 games now against Leeds and against Bournemouth. So if he wasn't banned from playing, he would be in that first lineup easily. So yeah, Dean also says here, as we get into the defence, Sam, definitely start Cody with Faze on Saturday.
You were there, Reedy, last Thursday now, so 2 nights ago. At the match, how well did Cody play?
Do you know what? To say that I'm not a big fan of him and how he fits into the system well, he did well. I will be honest, he did quite well in that right spot. We all kind of had a feeling that someone like Ben Nelson would be in that position over him because he has been playing better than him. But I think because of that performance, I think you'd say that maybe Cody deserves a start. And at the start of the season, I think everyone was expecting him to start this whole season. So I think he deserves a spot in that back line. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, deserve or not deserve, I guess we're kind of tight for centre-backs either way. We've paid 10 million for him. And again, you see this happen with a few players, I think, for Tarver at the start of the season. because of McAteer's injury, was, kind of given the chance to play, and look how well he did. Cody, I don't think has really had the chance to, be the only centre-back option, really, with Vestergaard out and Nelson being an okay option, but still, he's an academy player and Cody cost £10 million. So for me, if there was ever a time for Cody to, start picking up those proper consistent performances, it would be against QPR. I mean, it's a fairly easy opposition to try and do so. So for me, Vestergaard, again, unfortunately, he would be in my team if he wasn't injured. If he wasn't suspended for his yellow cards, but it will be Cody and Fies in 2 of the centre-back spots for me.
See, this is where the debate comes who sits in that middle spot, because I think when Vestergaard is out, I think Faze does that sort of spot well. But because Cody's coming in, would he pursue better being in that central role, or was he better on the right? Because when he played on the right against Bournemouth, I thought he did well. But that's because obviously none of Faze, because Vestergaard was in there and Faze wasn't. So who would you stick in that central role?
I think for me, in the middle, I'm going to put Cody.
Okay.
I think he is more of a, I'd say, level-headed defender, and Fies is a bit more of an aggressive centre-back. So I think if you're going to ask someone to be more defensive and who's more attacking in the sense of who can push up better and who can sit back better, I think you'll see Cody sitting back deeper as more of a defender. And Fies, we've seen, like we saw Vestergaard against Bournemouth, they do push up a lot more, even as centre-backs. But yeah, I think Cody's just a better defender at staying back, and Fies is a better momentum player. So I'll probably see it that way, where Cody sits back and Fies goes up.
Yeah, going into my team, I think I'm going to pick the same players as you, but I think I'd go the other way and go Faze in the middle. I think mainly because of how our system works and how we play, them balls from the diagonals to the wingers, I think that central role where Vestergaard usually sits gives that run and gives that pass well, and I think that's what Faze probably could do better than Cody. I think Cody's more of an old school kind of defender, and I think when Faze gets more attackive, he's got to be there to sit back, and I think that's what Cody would do better. So for me, Cody would sit in that right hand role, and I think he did well the other night there. Going into that left hand spot, obviously Locks does say here he'd have a back three of Faze, Cody, and JJ. Obviously, I know you're not the biggest fan of JJ compared to someone like Doyle, but I will say on Tuesday night, Doyle kind of got found out. He wasn't strong enough against his man. He didn't seem to do too well when it came to one-on-ones. But then again, I get your point on JJ. He just isn't. He isn't a centre back, is he?
Listen, I think I like Justin as a player, and I think we've seen it time and time again with players like Perez, where that when he gets put in his right position, he's a pretty good little player there. And I think the same for Justin. He's been shoved into this left centre-back role and being a lot more defensive than he usually would have been. Even under Rodgers, we saw him more as a wing-back rather than even a left-back. And I think it's not really his strong suit. But again, Doyle was given the chance against Bournemouth. Again, it's a big opportunity for someone who's on loan from Man City, and again, I can't critique too much on the match because I've only seen the highlights and not the full extent of it. And if he's playing bad, they don't really show that in highlights. So I would start Justin. Like I said, I don't have an issue with him. I think he's a really good player, and I think again, like we saw again in the Bournemouth game, Reedy. I mean, you'd probably be first to this. Was the quicker pace? Did it suit us more against a better team? Did our style suit that kind of attitude, I guess, that style of play? Did it suit that Bournemouth being more aggressive against us? Because it looked like we in attacks were being very more direct, because that's how we were, almost forced to play rather than having all this time and space like we know we probably will do against QPR.
See, this is a difficult part, because obviously I was there live, and at times I didn't feel like we could get control of the ball because they were so quick and so on us at times, and they're always 2 men on one. We couldn't play how we wanted to a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, we still played well and we still got the win out of the game, but at times I did think the style probably didn't help, because when we were trying to pass quick and trying to break the lines, they were there to stop us. So at times I don't think it did work, but again, it's the Championship, it is QPR. We shouldn't have any issue on this weekend.
No, like I said,
they are near the bottom of the league, aren't they? So
you're going to quickly pull up the league table now so we can just see where they are. But if I'm right, I think they're bottom 3. They're going to come and defend, really. Let's be honest. They're going to, let's have a look. They're sat fourth bottom.
The same points, yeah.
I didn't even realise Stoke were in that third bottom. So wow, they're doing bad. They're going to come and defend, really. I think that's obvious. That their game plan is to see how many goals they cannot concede. I assume that tends to be the motto of these bottom 3. Obviously, we can't get complacent with that attitude, but with the team we have, realistically, it shouldn't be anything less than a 2-3-0 game.
Yeah, completely. I'll get into my left centre back then, and to say that I did say that Doyle had not the best of games. I think I'm going to put him in. I think at the start of the season he did well. I think he suits that left centre back / left back role. Even though Justin is a left back, I don't know. I think he just suits that role better because when it comes to defending, he is a centre back.
Yeah, Doyle is an out and out centre back. So again, he's one of those players that's almost a little bit more out of position. Again, it's one of those weird styles that whoever you throw into the back 3, it's not really a conventional back 3. But again, I think Doyle has been fairly decent all season. Obviously, pre-injury, he's had a big spell out. Again, Bournemouth, big opposition. It's a big chance for him. I can see why you put him in there against QPR again. We'll see how he does. Yeah,
we'll move into the midfield then, Sam. Obviously, there was a few contentions of Ricardo. He did quite well in the game. Winks again didn't even get onto the bench on Tuesday, which we all kind of knew that was going to happen. But
yeah, if anyone deserves a rest, it would have been Winks.
Yes, the one player I'm going to mention, and I thought he was a cracking performance on Tuesday night, was Chowdhury. Does he see his way getting to the starting 11?
I think he does, just because of not just because of. I think he had a very good game himself, so he should be in that team anyway. But with the players we have remaining, and we were speaking a little bit more, and we'll get onto Outgun in a bit. Chowdhury definitely gets into that role.
Who does he take? Winks, yeah?
Winks and Chowdhury, and like we said, we'll move on to the attacking roles. But Chowdhury and Winks, for me, as the 2 out-and-out central defensive mid / right back / whatever they play now, that formation, we're in the same style of football that we play. But those 2, I think, have been very consistent. Winks is definitely going to be fully fit for QPR. Chowdhury again, playing some very decent games against some tough oppositions. He did well against, was it Leeds as well? I think he had a pretty decent game. Obviously, we lost 3-1, but
Medhurst here says Chowdhury over Winks and Ricky P. No, it's hard to not drop Chowdhury after the game and performance on Tuesday. And I see the reasons why people would put Ricardo Pereira in there.
Well, I can move on to my spot. Ricardo's still in my team.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know where you're putting him. Yeah,
he's going to be my second attacking midfielder.
Yes. I'll quickly move into mine first. Oh, well, let's bring it back to this one. We'll quickly put my players in because I think we know who's going to be put in there.
Yeah, I assume you're doing the same as me.
Chowdhury or Pereira? See, that's the thing I thought. I think I will agree with you. I think I'll put Chowdhury in just because of the performance. And he has been decent when he's been playing, so I'll keep him in there. As you said, we'll move into the attacking positions. And we already know where you're putting Ricardo Pereira, aren't you?
There's no other options for me as a cam that's good enough right now, obviously.
Who's ever seen Ricardo Pereira in that role before?
And did he? Well, he's played there a couple of times.
Yeah, I know, but like on the sheet, it's like, why is he playing and where?
With Ndidi out and Atgun, we did look it up. Like I said, Atgun has only got 5 games left that he can play for us before we have to officially sign him. So we could play for 4 more games and don't have to sign him, but we're playing for that 5th game and we do have to sign him. Really, Atgun has not been good enough for me this season to be worth 10 million to sign him for the Premier League. I mean, if anyone wants to disagree with that, I really need to hear a solid reason as to why Atgun should be in this team, because I don't think. I mean, you can tell me your thoughts. If we were to sign him for the Premier League or play the games that we have to sign him, I think we'd be a bit stupid considering he's not really brought any additional. I just don't think he's brought anything additional apart from a good couple of decent goals here and there. He has not been consistent enough, really.
I think on Tuesday night he gave his heart out. He did try. He had a few good chances. He probably should have put the chance he had on target. I think quality-wise is there, but I think at times he just doesn't show it enough. And I think this name of Atgun kind of comes under the name of like Eunice, under the name of like Under and Gazelle and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I think he's better than all of them, but I just don't think he's got the quality because he's not consistent enough with it. And at times when he's playing in that role, I think he's decent, but again, at times there's someone else, like say Ricardo, who's probably better at passing in that role.
Yeah.
As we move into the other attacking positions, then Sam, I already know who you're putting in that role, so I might as well even not ask you.
Yeah, I mean, usually, again, fairly. I think I would be one of the first to say he's been very good this season. I am also going to say he has dropped in form quite a decent amount in the past month. Whether that's due to the amount of games he's been playing or comfortability in the team, I think he has lost a little bit of his edge, and he's not been as clinical in the past few games. Like I said, the same about a lot of players, but Dewsbury, I think it is very hard to pinpoint someone who has been very good this season. Overall, I think he's maybe just gone a little bit under the radar the past month, 2 months, but against QPR, and he'll always be in the starting 11 because he's our best attacking midfielder that we have. See how he does. Well, again, I could see him doing something quite decent against QPR. Again, the team that we've already got out here, really, minus the 3 players we're not playing, they should be beating QPR anyway.
Yeah, of course. Mike Rook says if Ricky plays further up forward, Hunter can play. Again, it's a good option. It's a good choice to do that. And obviously, we have seen Ricardo play that higher up in the line before, so he can do it. Andy Medhurst says, I'm going to find a ball needs sorting out. Again, I think that's the issue with a lot of our players. Again, I'd even say to Dewsbury all at times that he probably holds the ball too long and he could make the ball a bit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, you could also argue that's how they're being told to play. Yeah. I think it's pretty much all but confirmed that Enzo does want the players to
keep holding the ball.
Either, rather than shoot, I mean, obviously Fatal was shot against Bournemouth was probably a crack, and I'm sure Enzo was annoyed until he saw it in the back of the net. But some of these, Enzo definitely wants to be passing it, and if there's an easier pass rather than a wayward shot, he would rather do that, which makes sense. But we'll see how it goes. Really, I mean, obviously, see who you're playing. I can only imagine we're pretty much like for like right now.
Near enough. I think obviously Dewsbury just is the first man on the team sheet. I think there's a few players at the moment that's first name on the team sheet, but on the right hand side, I get you mean Ricardo's probably the best choice we've got at the moment, quality-wise. Do I put someone who suits that role better because Ricardo is actually a right back instead of an attacking mid? But
I would argue that who would you class as better? Because I think Pereira as a cam is.
I think we always say that we're playing players out of position all the time, which again in this system has to happen because we're playing left back, centre back and left back, and we're playing a DM in right back. It has to happen, but if you're saying to put a player in that attacking role, even Ndidi wouldn't say that's his role in a way.
No,
he is a DM who does go forward.
It's not his natural role.
No,
he's obviously adapted to it very well in a lower league with.
But for me,
quality.
Someone like I would say Atgun does suit that role better because that is his main role. I probably would at the moment put Ricardo over him.
I'm just conscious of his game attribution. For me, against QPR, they're not a very good team. I think you can trial and error Pereira as a cam a bit more. For me, Atgun, if he was to play and he did his usual, not much, it's a waste of a match. If we're thinking about how can we clinically use him in the next 4 games, I don't think against QPR he's going to be needed. Like I said, I think you could put whoever played. I know we've got some youngsters in. I think you could put some of the youth team against QPR and we'd still win. That's not being me being cocky. That's just them not being a good team with who was already going to be in the team. Because let's be honest, we did rest our first team against Bournemouth, so we could start a fully fit team against QPR and get a bounce back. Obviously, with beating Bournemouth probably wasn't in the game plan. Let's probably just go out there and see what we can do.
I was just thinking about it as well. I'm guessing the reason why we did play Vestergaard on Tuesday was because we was banned either way.
He's not going to play for 2 games.
He was banned either way, so he might as well have played him.
Yeah, he's not going to feature for the next 10 to 12 days.
So in this role, I've just been thinking about it as well. And even though I've just said I prefer somebody who suits that role better, The one player that I thought played well when he came on against Bournemouth was Kelechi Iheanacho, and I think in that behind the striker role, I think he could do quite well. He can hold the ball up, he can make the passes through.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm gonna go Iheanacho.
You're gonna have to play someone out of position. Iheanacho definitely fits that bill fairly decent. I hadn't even considered him, to be honest, in the team.
I think obviously with the last couple of months, he's not been really well. He's not done very well at all. So, but seeing how he came on and did well against a Premier League level side, for me, he did quite well and he held the ball quite well. Like yeah, I wonder why. Loxy says Iheanacho in the advanced 8 role, been asking that for weeks. Again, we have been saying that the last couple of weeks as well when we've been doing these shows. But I don't think it's ever going to happen because it just shows like we're going to put in 2 strikers up front.
I think we have played him once or twice in that role this season, and it's very much a very quick trial and error with Enzo. I think that the time he did play that, he was stinkingly bad, and that's probably why you haven't seen him do that again. But again, like I said, if we're going to have to play someone out of position, Iheanacho definitely fits that, false 9 almost position very well.
Yeah, I agree. We'll move into the wingers then. Is there much debate on this? Or
I think there is a bit of debate on it because Mavididi hasn't been doing as well. In my honest, again, this is the teams that we would like to see. QPR are not a good team for me, so in my eyes, I'm dropping Mavididi for this game. Just because I think he's been a bit too comfortable in that role. And again, I am going to be the first to mention Mark Albrighton again, who every time he plays, he's Mr. Consistent. He's 7 out of 10.
Mr. McCrossy.
Well, you can call him that, but he's consistent. And he's, again, against Bournemouth, he showed why he's still a very decent player on his day. And his day is usually every match day. You don't come away and say Mark Albrighton had a bad game because he never does have a bad game. He's always average, but average is better than being bad. For me, I am going to have to fit Albrighton into that role, at least for the first half. And again, QPR.
Play him on the wrong side.
No.
Oh, no. He's doing the other way.
I'm going to play Fatawu on the left. I know it's not his natural role. And again, it's nothing against Mavididi. I think he might be getting a little bit too comfortable in the role where he's...
So you're playing Albrighton on the right, yeah?
Yeah, Albrighton on the right side as usual. Again, like I said, I rate Mavididi quite a lot. I just think he might need a little bit of a break. I mean, maybe that's what the Bournemouth game was, but there's nothing wrong with dropping a player, which will come through in the attack as well, to drop a player to, give him confidence and say, listen, you need to up your game a little bit because there are other players that will pick over you. And in my eyes, I think, like I said, QPR could do a little bit of trial and error with Pereira in the cam, Albrighton back into the team, and Fatawu on the left wing.
You're going to Fatawu on the left wing, yeah?
Yeah. I think, he's a fairly solid player. We can see how, I know that his left side is not his preferred side, but for the first half, I would, I'm just going to switch it around a little bit because I think Mavididi needs a break, or he needs to show, it's almost to show that his position isn't guaranteed every week just because he's the best player for that role. When again, like we've seen before, last season, players, Maddison, one that comes to mind, he wasn't playing overly amazing every game, but you couldn't drop him because it's just who else plays in that role. But then he gets complacent, and it's nice to freshen up a little bit to show there is competition in these roles.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd go back to and say about Mavididi is that he did have quite a few good chances against Leeds, which again, if he puts away, he could have had 1 or 2 or even 3 goals. So it is a hard one to think about. I do agree with you. I think maybe Albrighton should deserve a spot in that role. And again, it's QPR. Even though he's not probably one of the best wingers we've got, he is still going to do good enough to beat them if that's the case. We will move into my team then. And Fatawu is going to be in there. I just don't know if I am right in saying that Albrighton should be in there as well, or should just go for the base 2 of Mavididi and Fatawu. Do you know what? I'm going to agree with you. I think Albrighton deserves a start. Again, this is what we think. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, this is just our own opinion.
I don't think we'll ever see Albrighton in that main team.
Thanks, Facebook user, for calling us 2 clowns and not Enzo. You're right. I'm not a manager. I'm just sat in the...
We are saying what we think should happen. Yeah. Again, you have your opinion. You're probably just going to put out the main team that we normally do. But we just think whoever's playing well or deserves to start should be getting it.
Everyone has their own opinions. We're going to switch it around and not see eye to eye and everything, but again, we can, we'll see how it goes. But thank you, Facebook user, for that.
Locke says Mavididi over Abdul. Yeah.
I think
If you mean on the
Locks is
right hand
saying-
side, then yes.
I think
But
Locks is saying Mavididi and O'Brien and Fatawu to be dropped.
see, after the Bournemouth game, I think again it's another reason why you do start Fatawu. And I think out of the two, as much as Mavadidi's obviously got more goals than him,
again-
Fatawu gives more to us, even though he doesn't give any assist or goals. He just seems to be there.
Locks is saying, he's changing around again. That's all the great thing about having your own opinion.
See, this is where Locke says he thought Abdul was horrific against Leeds. Mavadi was better. I thought Mavadi was shocking against Leeds.
I think they were both pretty bang average. They both didn't do amazing. Again, like for me, my biggest factor is it's QPR, so why not try something different and change it around a little bit more? And if it's not working, hey, you've got 5 subs to use at half time.
We have seen Fatawu play on that side a lot of the time as well. Mavadi and Fatawu do switch around in game at times. So there's always chances. Again, we're not saying this is going to be the team. We're just saying this is what we think should happen. And again, I don't think O'Brien's going to start, but we think he deserves a start.
I wouldn't mind if he started. So I think he's.
So then it comes to the big decision up front. Obviously, you know my opinion on it. You know what a lot of people are asking for at the moment, and that's Cannon. Are you going to agree with them, or do you think there's some bit of hope that Daka does stay up front?
I have an issue with a little bit. For me, to start with, Daka has been a pretty, I would say, a decent player since Christmas. He's been scoring and setting up a lot of goals. He has been fairly good since Christmas. So you can't deny that. I won't deny that. I will say against Middlesbrough and Leeds, he had 2 chances on goal. And I'm not being funny. My 8-year-old granddad could have got it on target. He's absolutely shanked that shot when he was 1-on-1 against Leeds. And it's annoying to see that a £25 million player can't even put the shot on target. So... And like I said, it's not just that game. He's done it a lot of other times when he doesn't contribute enough to the match and he gets his big chance as a striker to put the ball away. He misses. I'm not saying he should get dropped, but I am dropping him. But
you're going for Cannon.
I'm going to put Cannon up top just because, again, same as Mavididi, I don't think that should be getting that comfortability. You know, there's no guarantee that should be up top every time just because he's the only option. Again, Cannon, I don't think he's been firing on all cylinders very well either. But if you put Albright and Cannon on, Albright's going to cross and Cannon's tall enough to head it back into the danger area or on target. And again, like I said, if you look at that, you look at the bench. This for me is the first 45 minutes of the team. And if it's underperforming, okay, put Fatawu on the right side or take off Fatawu, put Mavididi on, put Daka on. Like I said, I don't have an issue with Daka. I just think he needs to show that. When as a striker who cost a lot of money, it annoyed me that he couldn't find the target. So that is for me why I'm dropping him. It's not because he's having, I wouldn't say because he's a bad player. I think he's been doing okay. I just think every now and again it's nice to freshen up when someone's probably underperforming or, like I said, missing that chance.
I think the one thing with me and Daka, obviously, and everyone knows I like him. Everyone knows that I think he's probably one of the best ones we've got. But I think he gives more positive than he does negative. He might miss an absolute sitter in a game, but then he contributes a goal or assist or something in a way to keep us winning anyway. Like I say, if Daka's goal stood against Leeds, we would have counted as a goal, and he did set up with the goal. I think he did flick on the ball to Faze for the goal that counted. So he has done stuff to be positive in the game. But again, I get what people are saying about he is a striker. He is paid to score goals, and he's not doing it. So. And Callum Barnes says that I'm deluded. Again, he's the scapegoat. I'm sorry, but he is a scapegoat. The moment he does one thing wrong, he gets blamed for it. When Vestergaard does something wrong, he does get blamed for it. Every other time, their man of the match performances, or again, it's hard to say. I think out of the two at the moment, I think Daka does give more than what Cannon does. And obviously, we haven't seen Cannon much, but again, I don't know. You say you wouldn't be shocked if Daka does start?
No, I mean, Vardy's out injured. So, again, like I said, I don't have an issue with Daka being up there. If he is, I just think, we've got these different players to rotate a little bit more. Daka's been doing very well. I'd say in the past 2 months, he's obviously missed some big chances in the last few games, which I think's annoying. fans, it annoyed me, especially straight after the match where, when we do go on to lose against Leeds, but then that's what you say, Mavididi as well, he had a sitter and he didn't put it away. Vestergaard did have a sitter against Middlesbrough and Daka did again. The list goes
against
on
Bournemouth,
and on.
doesn't get blamed for it.
Well, the list goes on and on. I wouldn't say anyone's particularly picking out these players. I mean, for me, like I said, I picked Daka because he's an expensive striker. Ant Gunn, I've not put in my team, and I don't put in my team because I don't think he's good enough.
Locke says here, yes, he does get blamed for it, but he misses sitters every game. He might miss a sitter every game, but he'll probably do other stuff to create or even score a goal here or there anyway. Say Stoke, he scored 2 or 3.
I think the difference is with Daka, he does have his misses, but at least when it comes to the end result, you say, okay, he got 2 assists, he got a goal still. When you see Leeds, he got a decent flick on set up the first goal, but everything else he did in that game was not good enough, which is why for me, I would rotate around. And obviously, if Vardy was in the picture, I know he's out injured for the foreseeable future. We don't know how long that is going to be. But I'd rotate it to Daka. I mean, Callum, that's a bit of a stupid thing to say. You'd rather play with 10 men than Daka. If you look at his stats since Christmas,
and again, I will say as well, there is another maybe idea that maybe someone like Kell does get in that role. Obviously, with mine being in a more of an advanced eight role, he can't be. But after his performance against Bournemouth when he came on, you never know, he could get a start.
Like I said, we've got with Ian Asher back from AFCON, we've got 3 options up front to rotate in there somehow. Who starts, who knows? It's a tough one to call. Daka has been, again, like you say, I wouldn't say scapegoated, but he is. People do pick on him a little bit more, and I'm picking on him just because he's an expensive striker that was signed for Europe, and when he gets those chances in an easier league with the space that he's not going to get in the Premier League, he does miss those chances. So for me, that's pretty much the only reason I'm rotating Callan in. And I'm not saying drop Daka, he doesn't get to play again, because I think he's been playing, decent. So I will
say that I think if Daka if he plays on Saturday and he doesn't score when he's got like a clear chance, if he gets a clear chance and he misses it again, then I'd be like, okay, fair enough. But again, he's missed 2 chances out of about 10, 11, and
no, not necessarily. He has missed a few. Again, like I said, the thing that sours it a little bit is when he gets the easy chances and he misses, but then he doesn't do anything else in the game. Like I've seen it happen before in previous games, obviously from Christmas till now, where he's like, oh, how does he miss that? It's okay, he's still scored and got an assist in this game, so you can't really blame him for that. But when he doesn't provide anything else as a striker and he does miss that golden opportunity. I mean, we've spoke before. Whittaker for Plymouth are playing in a bad team, and he still bagged in 20 goals in his first season in the Championship. So, there's different levels to it. So it's hard to judge. Really, he's been doing fairly decent as a striker since Christmas, but I think the past couple of games has made it a little bit sour, where people are starting to say, well, if a striker can't find the net, let's rotate Cannon into the team, or even Iheanacho now.
Yeah, Callum is asking the last questions of the day. Where's Steffi Mavididi or where's Ricky P? Again, for me, Steffi Mavididi's not been consistent enough. And like you said, after Tuesday night, O'Brien deserves a start. Again, we know probably Mavididi's probably going to start. We know Ricky P's probably going to start. We're just choosing players who, on performance basis, have played better. And Chadri deserves to start after being probably a man of the match performance against Bournemouth. So that's mine. Sam, as you said, yours is as it says there. Ricardo is in there for Sam, and again, Mavididi.
Nothing against Mavididi. I think he's just a couple of times, again, like I said, with Daka, it could do with a little bit more of rotation, just to say that, if you underperform a little bit, your position is not guaranteed, because complacency does take a big part of football, like we saw last season in the Championship. We didn't, in the Premier League under Rodgers, we didn't have the depth to rotate it, and those players were just getting comfortable. We saw Maddison even in his tweet saying, play like that every week would be fine, and it wasn't fine. And I'm not saying it's an issue, but really we have gone from pretty much 15-point gap to now losing a few games to a 6-point gap. So I just think complacency is something that we can't afford to when we need to try and get back into the Premier League. And I am basing it on picking players who have been more consistent. And again, like I said, it's QPR. we can do 45 minutes with a little bit of a change around if it doesn't work.
Yeah, we can drop Steffi if it needs.
You've got the 5 substitutions to change it at half time if it's not working.
Yeah. Dean Sanders says look like the look of the teams. Enzo will go with Justin and Mavididi. Yeah, of course he will. We probably know that anyway. But
there's nothing wrong with it. Again, if Mavididi does get picked, fair enough. He's a good player. But again, it's just one of those things. If he underperforms, against
Enzo
QPR,
has said that if players aren't
yeah.
top of the game, they're going to get dropped. So you never know.
I think it's nice to have that rotation. We've got enough depth that these players that last season probably weren't good enough to be in the team are good enough. They've changed their mentality. They've changed how they play. Like I said, Vastigard was one of them that, again, the quality has dropped, but the mentality has also changed from Enzo, changing those players' mentality. Like I said, it's QPR. I think we can afford to do first 45 minutes changing stuff around and just, again, see who's better in that role. Like I said, I've always rated Albright, and I think he always gets put on the bench when a new manager comes in. But when he starts to pick up games, he gets the momentum, and he's like, here's Albright, who's putting in a 7 out of 10 shift as per usual. Yeah.
Lastly, you've already kind of mentioned it. Scoreline.
I think it's got to be nothing less than a big win. QPR fourth bottom. We've just beat Bournemouth away, so hey, let's be honest, we should be beating QPR at home. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say 3-0. I think the big killer is the no goals conceded. We'll see if that happens or not. Again, that our Achilles heels at the moment tends to be the last 10-15 minutes we kind of crumble and do let in a goal. We've done that all season against Leeds. All 3 goals came in the last 10 minutes of the match, really. So. We'll see. I'm hoping that we don't concede, but for me, it should be an easy win.
Yeah, I'll go with the same scoreline as you, 3-0, and I'll say Daka hat-trick, just to make people,
to wind people
up, and hopefully get them on my back. But that's fine. Appreciate you all coming on today, guys. This has been the Tactics Talk for QPR Way. Hopefully, we'll have one next week as well. We'll bring these back if we've got a game. We've obviously got midweek as well, so we'll do one probably Monday. Oh no, Phil will be doing a preview, so that's fine. We'll do one for next Saturday. So I appreciate you coming on, and we'll catch you all on the next show. See you in a bit.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, Everards, Barlow Blinds, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Distillers Direct, Hollogram, Take Me, Newby Co, The Fox's Arms and Rainbows. Run by the fans, for the fans. Follow us on socials at Leicester Fan TV and visit leicesterfantv.com for all the latest news, views and videos.